The Toronto Raptors are finally healthy and they have won 4 games in a row, beating the New York Knicks, Los Angeles Clippers, San Antonio Spurs, and last night the Milwaukee Bucks. They have moved up to 7th in the Eastern Conference and are looking to make their playoff push now. So what does a healthy Toronto Raptors team mean for the rest of the league? Before we get into this video, please subscribe to the channel and turn notifications on to stay up to date with all the latest NBA news and content. Now, let's get into what the healthy Toronto Raptors means for the rest of the NBA. Against the New York Knicks, for the first time this season, the Toronto Raptors finally had their full roster, and they bet the New York Knicks convincingly off the back of a 35-point performance of Freddie All-Star VanVleet. They then cruised to the finish line against the San Antonio Spurs off another big performance by Fred VanVleet. For their 4th consecutive win, the Toronto Raptors bet the Milwaukee Bucks. This game was a story of two tales, as in the first half, no one could play defense and the Raptors allowed the Bucks to score 77 points of 61% shooting. But then it all changed in the second half, as they were down by 9 at the half, and then came roaring out the gates in the third quarter, and only allowed 34 points of 27% shooting in the second half. Pascal Siakam played great this game by putting up 33 points to carry the Raptors to the finish line. So how have the Toronto Raptors been able to win 4 games straight? Well, firstly, they've gotten all their guys back, apart from Yuta Watanabe and Steve Mykhailiuk, who are currently in COVID protocol, but they've gotten all their starters back and main rotational players. Secondly, Fred VanVleet has been playing like an all-star and carrying this Toronto Raptors team offensively. OG Anunoby is slowly finding his form back before going down with COVID, and Siakam is finally returning to all-star form and has significantly played better since the start of the season. Even though there are some areas in his game that he could improve, like passing to open men and getting out of double teams, he has played pretty well and he gave the Raptors the spark they needed in the third quarter while they trailed against the Bucks last night. And the final reason how the Toronto Raptors figured it out and won 4 straight games is Nick Nurse finally figured out the rotation of this team. Instead of having a go-to bench unit like Nurse had at the start of the season, he now incorporates some of the starters with the bench unit, which helps the offense flow so much better. At the start of the season, when the bench unit were brought in, there will be a massive drop-off in scoring and defense, and this would leave the starters in a big hole to dig out of to try and win games. The Toronto Raptors have the worst bench in the NBA and it's not even close. Per game, their bench averages only 24.4 points, which is 1.9 points off from the next worst team, which is the Chicago Bulls. Their bench shoots the worst percentage, has the least amount of assists, and is one of the worst rebounding benches in the league. But Nick Nurse has figured out this issue tremendously. He starts the game out with Scottie Barnes, Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Gary Trent, and Fred VanVleet, which is their small ball lineup. Approximately 2 to 4 minutes into the game, he takes out Scottie Barnes for a quick rest and brings in Khem Birch, who's a more traditional 5. He rocks with those 5 players for a couple of minutes, and then when he takes out VanVleet or Siakam, he'll bring back in Scottie Barnes and some of the bench players, including Chris Boucher, Precious Achiuwa, or Steve Mykhailiuk. This allows Scottie Barnes to run the point and run the offense smoothly. Nurse leaves in either Gary Trent or OG Anunoby to stay with Scottie Barnes and the rest of the bench unit. This works brilliantly for the Toronto Raptors, as they don't have to bring in their whole bench unit, which is horrific. Instead, it gives Scottie a little break at the start of the game, and then while bringing him back in, it gives Fred a break, who the Raptors are horrific when he comes off the floor. As it stands today, the Raptors are currently 7th in the Eastern Conference and continue to climb. With the way things are going in the NBA today, with COVID always happening and always a risk of injuries happening to your star players, the Raptors might fall down in the standings a little bit into the play-in position. If this happens, Masai Ujiri will have the decision to try aim for a playoff spot or just tank the rest of the season and try to get a high overall draft pick. But right now, the Raptors are playing great and should look for a playoff position to get early development into the young players like Scottie Barnes. When the Toronto Raptors are healthy, they are extremely scary, as at the start of the season in October through January, they averaged 103 points in October, 105 points in November, 109 points in December, and even though it's a small sample size, they are averaging 122 points in January. The defense has also increased over the course of these 4 months, and they are one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the league. The Raptors can kill you in multiple ways as they play at a fast pace in transition, where their defense helps tremendously as they're able to get quick in the lanes and get steals, which leads to fast break points. Fred VanVleet is also playing at an all-star caliber level as he's averaging 21.3 points, 4.9 rebounds, 6.7 assists, and is shooting 44% from the field and 40.8% from 3-point range. He also averages 1.6 steals per game and is top 3 in the league in deflections per game. Pascal Siakam is also playing like an all-star this season, despite the slow start. He's averaging 20.4 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 4.4 assists per game, which is slightly down from last year, but his shooting splits have increased. He has carried Raptors to the finish in multiple games this year, and is becoming the second option behind Fred VanVleet. OG Anunoby completes the big three of his team, as he contributes 19.3 points, 5.3 rebounds, 2.5 assists, gives you 1.7 steals, and great perimeter and interior defense. Gary Trent Jr. is a great fourth option on this team, as he provides 16.6 points per game and leads the league in steals. To round out the starting five, the Raptors have the best rookie in the NBA, Scottie Barnes. He provides the team with 15.1 points, 8.1 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 1.1 steals, and is a great playmaker and defender for this team, and is the fifth option. This Raptors team is going to be scary for the remainder of the season if the starters can stay healthy and develop as a team. This team has already shown that they are great defensively, and the offense is coming along nicely. Hopefully their bench can improve for the rest of the season and that their starters stay healthy. The Toronto Raptors are definitely a threat in the East and can potentially knock out a team in the first round. Please comment your thoughts down below on this team and how good they can actually be. Those are my opinions and reasons why the Toronto Raptors are a scary team when fully healthy. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel with notifications on to never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.